All Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.
Up, everybody? Wes Moore ready to roll. I'm glad you're with us tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We've got our high school football player of the week, and it was an incredible game from our player of the week. Some big time stats, and found out tonight that he did all that in the first half because they mercy ruled the team and sat out the second half. So just an incredible night from our player of the week. Meet him in just a little bit. And of course, big thanks to Gwatney Buick GMC for hopping on board and being a sponsor of the show. More about Gwatney Buick GMC a little bit later. They sponsor all of our interviews. And speaking of, let's bring in our first guest of the night. It is former Razorback linebacker Hayden Henry. What's up, Hayden? How are you doing, man?
Wes, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
Are you really? Are you really doing great? Isn't this kind of tough right now?
I believe it or not, I've been on worse teams. They're 2-7, so they have a chance to still win a few. I went 2-10 twice, so they're tracking a little bit ahead of where I ended up a couple times.
I wasn't going there tonight, but since you bring it up, I had Fernando Carmona on the buzz today. He comes on every Tuesday. Great young man. Love talking with him. And basketball season last night. And for me, I have moved on, and I'm thinking more basketball than I am football. And I think some fans have done that. But these guys like Fernando, they can't do that. They got 3 more games. What's it like? Tell us what it's like when you're on a team that's 2-7 and you got 3 more games to go. What's going on in that locker room? What's it like for the players?
It's tough. It's really tough. And things are different now than when I played. You got the transfer portal, so guys can essentially, right, hop in and they're gone. They can hang it up whenever they like. When we were playing, we had to. I say when I was playing, like I played 20 years ago. I played 5 years ago, and you had to finish the season. But that locker room is probably a pretty tough place to be right now. Now you look at a guy like Carmona, Taylin, maybe even Mike Washington, guys who potentially actually have a future to play in the NFL. Like they're putting things on tape, and so they those guys are playing hard because they're trying to put tape on film for scouts. And as far as a guy that's just kind of a role player, man, it's hard to stay locked in. Your body is just destroyed. You're tired. You're still showing up and having to do the same things every day. Prepare for the opponent, even though you know you're not going to have a bowl game, right? Like, let's prepare for LSU. Like, we really, need to win this game. When in reality, the season is chalked up as not important anymore. We're 2-7, so it's really tough, man. It's tough as a player. It's even tougher on these coaches. I can't imagine how hard it is to try and go in there and motivate these young guys to show up and still attack it like it's week 1 when you're 2-7. It's tough, man. I guarantee you it's really hard if you don't have strong leadership in the locker room. It's easy to lose the morale of the team. So I hope we can at least just keep playing hard, finishing. I mean, look, we've played hard in every game. Now, bottom line is you got to win, and we haven't been able to do that. But we still have a top 10 offense in the country, which is insane to say, sitting at 2-7. And we've got a defense that's one of the worst in the country. And so that's the formula that's created the outcome that we're looking at right now.
What did you see in Mississippi State in that fourth quarter when they got 2-score lead up 17 straight to Mississippi State? Is it talent? Is it scheme? Is it desire? Can you pinpoint what exactly is wrong?
It's a mixture of a lot of things. I mean, first thing, the penalties were terrible, and I don't know. You chalk that up to some discipline. You chalk it up to maybe a little bit to the refs, right? But I mean, that was unbelievable. Would we have 200 yards of penalties?
Almost.
That's crazy. Um, but man, look, across the board, you can't be the worst defense in the SEC without a lot of things not happening right. I think it's communication. I think it's leadership. I think it's effort. I think it's probably a little scheme. And those three combined, create just not a great outcome. You can't just give up the plays, the busted plays, the explosive plays that we give up without just not being on the same page. We don't know our scheme, apparently. We don't know our job at every position. And I feel like when I watch the game, Wes, I'm watching 11 third graders play a game of pickup football in the backyard. Like that's literally how I feel. Like it's just like, hey, let's grab the ball, run this route right here, and I'll throw it to you down there, at the tree line. Like that's what I feel like we're rolling out there on defense. It's just like, hey guys, what do you guys want to play right now? What do you guys think? Let's just play a little zone. Let's play a little zone. That sounds good. But the other corner, he's like, nah, I'm gonna play man. I'm gonna play man coverage on this play. Like there's just no cohesion as a unit, and it's so obvious. I mean, like I said, just those explosive plays, those plays of 20, 25 yards just don't happen unless everyone's just not on the same page.
You see that at times? Guys playing zone, but another guy playing man to man, or vice versa.
No, I was making an extreme example, but I just feel like what is going on out there? Like I cannot put my finger on it. It drives me insane. I mean, I'm sitting there watching a game with friends or my wife, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, like this is so bad. What are they doing out there?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Like nothing is adding up. And so I think it's just, man, let's just survive. Maybe we can win a game here towards the end of the year. And let's clean the slate next year. Get a defensive coordinator in here who knows what he's doing and will be willing to build the scheme around the roster because that's really what you need to do.
Is that what you would like to do? Just clean house and start over from scratch? Is that the best option?
I've got a lot of thoughts. Got a lot of thoughts, Wes.
Got a lot of time.
Man, these situations, right? Every fan, your fuse is this short because you want to win so bad. Those guys, those players, believe it or not, they want to win really bad,
Yeah.
and they can't put it together. I mean, the coaches want to win, the players want to win. I can guarantee you, they don't just show up every day and not want to win. They want to win. They just can't put it together. How do you put it together? Well, it starts in January and you work really hard, you get on the same page, you know your scheme, you're disciplined, you're cohesive, you get good leadership. There's a lot of things that go into it. As far as cleaning house, when you go through a situation like what we're going through, your head coach gets fired. Where we're tracking now, you're more than likely, Coach Petrino is going to be pushed out. It's going to be a clean slate. It's unstable. There's so many things in flux that you cannot understand. And so with the transfer portal now, you'll see a mass exodus more than likely. And it causes a ton of unknown. Look at a program like North Carolina. They've got 70 something new players on their team this year. This is going to happen every year in college football now, which is the way that it's structured. You'll have overhaul all these programs that have coaches that have had coaches fired so far. Auburn, Florida, Penn State. It'll be the same story. You're going to have a big mass exodus. You have to find the right guy who you believe will come in, rebuild the program, find the guys to fill the voids that you have, and really do the whole thing over again. That's an extremely difficult thing to do. So, with that being said, look, part of me is like Coach Petrino. I mean, when you watch the game and you see him running up and down the sidelines, chewing out those refs, like you're like, this guy's got a little fire left. I mean, he's definitely got a little fire left. And I think his fire is what is best about him. It's also probably what's worst about him because Coach Petrino is just one of those guys who's never satisfied. If you win a game by 50 points, he's going to find something wrong in that game, and he's going to be so pissed about it that he cannot let it go. That's what I mean. You want some of that, but at the same time, it burns people out a little bit. So look, I mean, is there a scenario where potentially keeping Coach Petrino might be in our best interest? Maybe. Little stability. You got a coach who knows the program, knows the ins and outs. You got um, a guy who's 65 years old, but still has a top 10 offense in the country. And I think the big question mark around Coach Petrino is, can he build that roster still? Can Coach Petrino go sit in a recruit's home and really win him over with his charisma? I don't know. Probably up for debate.
Do you have to anymore? Isn't it really? It's not so. I mean, there's still some recruiting, but it's that cash. If you got that check, I think that helps his recruiting, because that's the knock. And I've talked to players that played under him, and they said that the program was going to start going down because he couldn't recruit our players. And this, your best recruiters are your players. And when his players were telling recruits, you don't want to come here unless you have thick skin and can handle this, it's a tough situation. And they all were telling, or many have told me, that the recruiting was tailing off and Arkansas was going to decline. But now my point is, how big is recruiting versus having that checkbook to write, and get these players to come in?
You make a good point, and I think I agree with a lot of what you say. And the other interesting part about keeping Coach Petrino is you're more than likely not going to have to pay Coach Petrino that $8 to $10 million a year mark, right? I mean, maybe you do, probably not. What's he making now, Wes?
2.
He's making 2. Maybe you get him on you double his salary. You could pay him 4. I mean, you could pay him $4 million, and that difference between what you were going to pay your next coach, which is probably 8 to 10 million, if I had to guess, that $5 million a year you're going to save, you can use that to pay more players. Build up the roster. Like I said, like, there is a way that this maybe works. But at the same time, I mean, do you go out and find a guy who maybe has proved himself at a smaller FBS school, got SEC experience, pay him a little bit more, give him a chance? Maybe he's a little younger, he's got a little bit more juice left in the tank. I don't know. What do you think?
I think if Petrino's the worst option, that's a pretty good place to be in. I don't know if seriously, I do not know if he is playing D, E, F, but I do know that the Board of Trustees has done a great job of going out, interviewing a lot of candidates, talking to agents, and I think they have a big group of people they have talked to, and they have zeroed in on those who are truly interested in Arkansas, or they think, because you don't know these days if someone's truly interested or they're just trying to get a raise at their school, or use Arkansas to get more money from Florida or Auburn or LSU. Who knows? But I think they've done their job. They have a list of candidates. They've got a group of guys that they feel like that are interested in this job. And then things will start getting serious in December. Fans want something now. And I keep saying, no coach is, unless you're James Franklin, you're not going to make a move right now, because you're going to play wait and see. You're going to see what all opens up, and the bidding's going to start and all that. So it's on their advantage to stay, just stay put for right now. But all that said, I believe they're going to have a good candidate. And from the meeting that they had Saturday with the big donors, as long as they're on board, and the game has changed so much. In the past, we would be upset if donors were involved in a coaching search and they had a say in it. But college football now is about money and who has the money. And if you're not getting that money from the donors, then you're going to be back where you were with Coach Pittman. So you got to have them on board, excited about the new head coach, ready to support the next head coach so that he has the money to be successful. And that's where Arkansas has been. Even Yurachek has said, They didn't have the resources to be successful to compete for a national championship. So now you got to have those guys on board. And if they're on board, I think they can pull a rabbit out of their hat. I know they can because they did it with John Calipari.
Mhm.
So why can't they do it for football if they've got the right people on board ready for the program?
No, you're
So
right.
went on a little rant.
No, I agree with everything you said, Wes. I mean, that is the bottom line. Look, you get your 10, 15 biggest donors in the room and you work with them. Like you say, what do you want? Like how do you see, this coming together? And listen to their input because they're the ones cutting the checks. And if you can get their buy-in, you find somebody that they really like, somebody that they want to get behind, somebody they can get excited about, then look, there is really no telling what you can do in today's college football world. If you can financially capitalize the team in a way that the biggest, most successful teams are doing and are doing well. Agree with you 100%.
Who are some names that excite you?
I'm terrible at this. I'm not, my ear isn't to the ground like it quite used to be. Um, I hate that he went to Purdue and isn't having a very winning season because I think if Barry Odom was still at UNLV and he won another 10 games this year, I think he's probably a lock for this job. Um, just most unbelievable coach I've ever played for, can make you as a player literally believe that you can do anything.
Hmm.
That was the best thing about him. I mean, man, mentally, he just something just clicks there for him where he can just get through to his players, get everybody on the same page, playing as a unit. Just the mentality part of his game as a coach is next level. Definitely up there with some of the best. And so it's unfortunate that I think they're 2-7 or 2-8 right now. And I mean, look, it's going to be hard to go out and hire the coach at Purdue, if he's 2-8 at his new position. I would love to see him, but as far as like some of these younger guys go, I know Wes, we were talking before, and I wasn't aware, but what was the coach's name that had a little Tennessee experience?
Oh, Golish at South Florida.
Yeah, goalish. Look, I think if you can find a guy who has seen this conference up close with his eyes, that's a big stepping point. Like that's table stakes. You have to at least have that because if you've never been to Tuscaloosa in pregame and stood there and looked across the 50-yard line at that offensive line and defensive line warming up and seen how big those guys are that you're about to go against, if you've never seen that, it's gonna be really hard to build your team to go defeat that. Um, and so if you've never coached in this conference and seen the way that the trenches are in the SEC, I mean, you might as well already write it off. You've got to have the mentality of we're going to line up, let's spot the ball, we're going to blow the guys off the ball that are in front of us, and we're just going to play bully ball. We're going to push people around, we're going to play physical, and the ball's in the air. We're going to go get the ball. We're going to make wide receivers feel it. We're going to play tough. We're going to play physical. Like I mean, you got to at least have that. I mean, that's, like I said, that's table stakes. Okay. And then from there, it's what does this coach think scheme wise, right? What are his X's and O's background? And can we facilitate a roster that can make that scheme work? Um, and then is he willing to put people around him on his staff that will complement him? That's such an underrated thing, Wes. Everyone looks at the head coach, that's the head guy. Head coach, look, it's morale and culture, which are two really important things, but your OC and your DC are arguably more important. almost more important because that's what you're really fielding out there is your offense coordinator, whatever his mind is, like his football mind, that's what's going out there to the field. And if it sucks, then it's more than likely going to suck. And if he can't, get his quarterback to understand the scheme, execute the scheme at a high level, it's just not going to work. Same goes for defense.
Does James Franklin excite you?
I mean, James Franklin, if we got James Franklin, I'm just trying to think what I would do to celebrate, but it would be insane because he would be an absolute slam dunk hire. I mean, you'd be getting a guy who was in the college football playoff last year. I cannot believe that they fired him. That is unbelievable. If we got him, I would be absolutely fired up. Because Wes, that he's got a chip on his shoulder like he's never had in his entire life. He is so ready to go prove Penn State wrong. And what better way than to go to an SEC program, have the brand behind you, the dollars behind you to go build something. I mean, man, that gets me excited. That would be awesome. But frankly, I think he's such a popular name, such a big name. I feel like we would never have a shot at him. I hope I'm wrong. Um, like you said earlier, if you can get the Arkansas boosters to buy in, I mean, there's some very powerful people that support this program, as we saw with John Calipari coming to be our basketball coach. You never know what could happen if you can get their buy-in.
Would Brian Kelly excite you?
What everyone listening doesn't know is that Wes and I discussed this before we hopped on here, and I think we're both in agreement that Brian Kelly would be an absolutely terrible idea for Arkansas.
Yeah, if he doesn't work down at LSU, I mean, we're the South too. I don't know if that flies.
It's Arkansas is a different animal too.
Yeah.
It's there's some other schools in our conference that have similar fan bases. But man, look, like people here live and die about the Hogs. And a coach, like if a coach comes here, you've got to know that and you have to understand that. You can't just be told that. You have to like have maybe experienced it. Maybe you've played a game here. Maybe you know a little about the program. Because I mean, this is it, man. People, I mean, this is people's lives, is Arkansas sports.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing and it's a bad thing, as we both know.
Yeah.
The good thing is, man, when you're winning games, no one is riding higher than the Arkansas fan base. And they let you know when you're on Twitter about it too. Vice versa, when you're losing games, it can arguably one of the more toxic fan bases in the country. So you got to know that when you're coming into the seat here, that's what you're really dealing with.
Yeah, I'm afraid what the Missouri game is going to look like, especially if they don't pick up a win against Texas or LSU day after or Saturday after Thanksgiving. Weather's usually just nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it, for the guys. And you were there and you told us, those 2-10 seasons. It sucks to play in your last game of the year that's meaningless and nobody's there to watch you.
Yeah. Agree.
This is fun. This is good stuff. I appreciate you coming on, as always.
Wes, man, this is great. I just last couple thoughts. I mean, look, I'm always 100% bought in to the Hog. Always will be to the day I die. I'm very optimistic. I believe in Hunter Yurchek wholeheartedly. A lot of people can disagree with me on that. I think he's a absolutely standout guy. Love him to death, and I've got faith in him, board of trustees, all of the fans that support our program, and the boosters who support our programs financially. That we're going to come together in this and say, look, enough is enough. We want our school to be competitive at the highest level. And frankly, I think I've maybe said this before, but you used Tuscaloosa, Alabama as your case study to show you what can happen to a region when your football team is good. And it sounds very superficial to say, well, what are you talking about? Like they're boosting up the region from your football team. Go look at Tuscaloosa, Alabama from 2007 to now. The endowment has tripled in size, enrollment has tripled in size. Think about what that does for everything associated with that region. And look, you can only point to one thing that's driven that. And like I said, it sounds superficial, but their football team was really good for a really, really long time. And students want to go there because that's really cool. I don't know
Yeah.
why. People love it. And so that's another kind of thing here is that it's not just really about like we want to win games because we're fans and we love the Hogs. It's really like there's a lot more at stake here, and it can be good for the region to have a good football team.
Well, back to my point, how much money is that area, Fayetteville area, going to lose the Saturday after Thanksgiving because nobody's going to be there? How much money did
Yeah,
they lose this past weekend with Mississippi State? How many people didn't go, wasn't tailgating, staying in hotels, eating at restaurants, buying gas, whatever, just the impact it's had. And you
yeah,
can't keep that up. You can't. It's got to change.
yeah, absolutely. Agree.
How's Hunter doing? I meant to ask you. Patriots are
Hunters, man, Patriots are a buzzsaw right now. And I kind of like that I think they've only had one primetime game, so no one's really been able to watch them, and they've kind of flown under the radar. But Drake May candidly is looking like a really, really good quarterback. Um, for being a sophomore in the league, he's making throws and making decisions that you don't see till you're typically 3 to 5 years in the league. And so Mike Vrabel, he's got a strong culture. They're building a strong culture there. Everyone loves him. Everyone's bought in, and they've put a few guys in that offseason through free agency in some spots that they were really hurting in that are really helping them a lot. Stephon Diggs
Yeah.
being one of those guys. Will Campbell, they picked him up in the draft, left tackle. He's been killer. Other than Myles Garrett had 5 sacks against him 2 weeks ago, but man, they're good. They're fun to watch. They beat the Bills already, so if they can win out against the Jets and the Dolphins, and I mean they'll have a easy shoe in for the AFC East playoff spot.
That's fun. It's fun to watch the turnaround. That's pretty cool.
It's awesome, man. I'm happy for him.
Hey, happy for you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you as always. Good job tonight.
Thanks, Wes. You're the man. Appreciate you, man. Go Hogs.
Hayden Henry joining us on More Sports. That was a lot of fun. All the interviews are brought to you by Gwatney GMC. You see the logo up there. Just like your favorite team, Gwatney Buick GMC knows how to make big plays for their fans. So if your current car payment's running up the score on your budget, it's time to call GMC. Their sales team is always in the game helping you trade up and save big. Whether you're looking for a GMC Sierra to tackle the tough job, Buick SUV for bringing your favorite player to the game, Gwatney Buick GMC has the perfect playbook to get you into the end zone and score big. So don't sit on the sidelines. Bring your trade in to North Little Rock. Let Gwatney Buick GMC draw big winning play. Thank you, Gwatney Buick GMC. We need to talk a little high school sports now. Let's bring in the More Sports Player of the Week. It is Colt Barrett, Poyen's quarterback, and his head coach, and his dad, Vic Barrett, the head coach at Poyen. Guys, congratulations. Thanks for joining us on More Sports. Colt, let me start with you. Tell me about that game. That's a heck of half for you. Those are some impressive stats. You guys must have been playing really well.
Yes, sir. We came out. We played ball. That's for sure. Gotta give a big shout out to my O-line and my wide receivers and our running back. The running back opened up the passing game for us to be able to put up those kind of numbers.
Yeah, they were impressive numbers. I didn't realize it was just the first half only. 13 to 15, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he also ran 44 for 44 yards and 3 more touchdowns. Have you had a game like that, a half like that ever?
Yeah, week 2 against Magnet, we had a half like that, but we didn't score 50 points in a half. That's for sure. We didn't. I threw for 550 yards that game, probably 300 in the first half, but not scoring 50 points in one half, that's for sure.
Coach, can you explain that half? That's an awesome half.
Coming into it, it was we knew it was a must-win game for us to clinch a playoff spot. You never want to get to the last week and have to clinch and play. So we just challenged our kids, and we're like, guys, and we felt like we'd let one slip away last year at Bearden and kind of hurt us. And we just challenged them, hey, go get this game, leave no doubt. We haven't lost a game at home all year, junior high or senior high. So we were like, let's just don't make it the first one of the year to be the last one. And our kids just respond. We've got great kids here. They step up and they play, and now it clicked a lot more than I've ever seen it click before. It was kind of like an angels in the outfield type deal. Everything just worked out, and we played well, and that's hats off to our kids.
Do you feel like the team is peaking at the right time?
I really do. I feel like we've had kids out all year, and it's been legit stuff. I was telling our AD the other day, we've had more kids out for the flu or stomach bug, and even one with mono. We've had more kids out with sickness this year than we did the 2 seasons where we were dealing with COVID. And so we're finally healthy, and we got some depth, and we're hoping that we are clicking at the right time.
You feel you're playing, 10 playoffs around the corner. It's important time.
Yes, sir. I feel like I'm playing well right now. I'm probably playing some of my best football right now, just trying to keep this guy on the sidelines a little bit happier.
What is that relationship like? Colt, let me start with you, playing for your dad.
It's special. It's a lot of people think he digging in my butt when we get home, but we make sure we got our personal life and we got our football life. But definitely after a game like that, we're both in a little bit better moods for the mom and the sister to deal with when we get home on Saturday. That's for sure.
Coach, what's it like coaching your son?
It's special. It's hard. I think anybody who's coached their kid knows how hard it really is. They deal with the old, he just plays at quarterback because his daddy's the coach and all that type of stuff. And rightfully so. There's daddy ball out there, and so that puts it on the spotlight on. But I think anybody who's watched me coaching knows that he doesn't get a lot of special treatment. Only he gets it a little bit harder than everybody else. And then the best thing is his performance has proved what kind of quarterback and what kind of kid he really is. And it's been really special for me, and it's going to be tough to watch him walk off the field for the last time whenever that happens in the next few weeks.
Have you had to almost learn to coach your son? Because it's different coaching him than the players. Have you found yourself kind of changing or learning from it over the years?
What I think it's done, and I tell all of our other coaches, is it makes you see the parent's point of view more than you do until your kid plays for you, because he is my kid, and that's what parents focus on, is their kid. So I feel like it's made me probably a better coach for other people's kids, my other players, to know what's going on in their brains and how they act at home and how they deal with success and failure at home. So it's really opened my eyes to be a better coach and educator for everything. And I've coached him since he was in the second grade playing football. And he's always said he wanted to play college football and he wanted to be successful. And, I've been tough on him. Like, there are some days I get home on Saturday mornings or after practice and think maybe I was too tough on him. But what I know is he's prepared for real life. He's prepared to have a boss that will tell him you're wrong and you got to fix it, or you're great, good job, and that it's not personal. It's just there's a business relationship there.
Colts, he been too hard on you at times?
No.
You can be honest. I have.
No.
I know I have.
Some of it's probably deserving, but it's definitely made me better. I remember in second grade, he asked me, he's like, do you want me to push you to be the best you can be and treat you to be a college football player? And I told him yes. He said, well, then I'm going to dig in your butt sometimes. I was like, okay, I'm ready for it. So it's one of those things I've understood that he's just pushing me to be my best when he's getting upset at me sometimes.
Do you play other sports?
Yes, sir. I play basketball and baseball.
So when you're got a different coach, it's not your dad, does that give you a little kind of perspective on how he –
my baseball coach is my uncle. And then my basketball coach, he knows that if he wants me to play my best, that sometimes he just got to get in me a little bit. He definitely doesn't know how to push my buttons as well as my dad and my uncle do, but he can get into me sometimes too when he knows I'm not playing as well as I should be.
What's your future look like? What do you want to do?
I'm going to play football at Monticello. Go play my 4 or 5 years there, and then I want to be a football coach and get into the administration.
That's pretty cool. You said you wanted to play college football, and you're getting that opportunity. That's a dream come true.
Yep.
Yes, sir, it is.
And his dream, people ask all the time. They asked me when he was little, what are you going to do if he wants to play in the band and not play football? I said, well, I'm going to be at band concerts supporting him like I would if he loved football. Football was my love, and it didn't have to be his. It's just taken over. That's when he was a 4th grader, he asked Santa Claus to bring him a copy of our playbook. And so he got one, and he knows it better than the guy that wrote the playbook. So it's just been a special deal for us. And, I'm proud of him. We've pushed multi-sports in our house, and he's an all-state basketball player last year, and then he's an all-conference baseball player as well. So I'm super proud of him, and UAM is getting an absolute steal. Like they are, and Coach Jackson and Coach Qualls down there. I love those guys, and they've built a relationship with him and treated him right. And I'm ready to see him put that green and black on.
That's really cool. Coach, it's a kind of a unique season high football across Arkansas because you're just one of several head coaches coaching their son. Last week we had Josh Price and Kane Price on as the player of the week. Earlier this season we had Phil Vega and Creed Vega. I know Bauxite and Morrilton, Clinton. All those coaches are sons. Have y'all talked ever about it and what it's like? Maybe even picked each other's brains.
We just went blank. That Bauxite, me and him talked about it last year, a couple years ago, and the thing for me is Coach Schaefer's here. He's been the girls' basketball coach here for a long time, and he coached his daughter when he was here. And, being in the office with him for the past 13 years, me and him would bounce stuff off, and I would say, he knew my kids were coming up and I was coaching them. And me and him talked a lot about the do's and the don'ts. And, the biggest don't is don't take it home with you. And me and Colt, rarely ever talk football at home. We might talk about film of the opponent, but I can't ever remember coming home and saying, dude, you played like crap, or I can't believe you did that. Like when we get in the car to go home, I'm dad, and I try to make sure I tell him how proud I am of him, the way he played, that he always gives his best, whether he executes right or not, he always gives his best. And I never question his effort. And I just give him a big hug and tell him I'm proud of him and send him to bed. And that's just how we've dealt with it, and it's worked well for us. And I think that's why he knows anytime I'm on him, it's not personal, that I love him beyond belief, but I do want him to be the best he can be.
All right, got one more regular season game Thursday night against Clarendon. What do you got to do to take care of business?
We just got to go play Poyen football. If we play like we did the other night, then hopefully I just get to play for a half again. We're trying to make it healthy and make it be that 3 seed in the playoffs.
No, that's it. We've got to go establish the run. Going on the road in our conference is tough. Obviously, we've only won one game on the road, so we've got to go win on the road. Clarendon is super athletic, and we've got to bottle that athleticism up and play very disciplined. And then we've got to score when we get the ball, and that's what we're preaching to our kids. We want to give ourselves the best chance to win in the playoffs, and obviously the lower seed, the better chance you got. So we just got to take care of that business.
Coach, thank you. Colt, congratulations on being the More Sports Player of the Week. Best of luck this week and the rest of the season. I hope y'all run together goes for another another month, 5 weeks, something like that.
Yep.
That's what we're hoping for. Every game's a blessing.
Thank y'all and congratulations.
Thank you, Wade.
Awesome stuff from Colt Barrett and Vic Barrett. Got to talk to them earlier today. The More Sports Player of the Week, Colt Barrett, and it was It was a great week. You look at some of the other candidates, and big thanks to everyone who voted on Twitter on the poll. Cersei's quarterback, Jacob Miles, 24 of 35, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns rushing. Kane Archer out of Greenwood, one of our previous More Sports players of the week, was 24 of 28, 313 yards, 5 touchdowns passing. And then you had Trey Harris at Conway, 184 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. 4 great candidates, but big thanks to Colt and Coach Barrett for joining us on More Sports. And big thanks to Gwatney Buick GMC for being a part of the show and sponsoring all of our interviews. And we got a cool thing coming Saturday I want to tell everybody about. Saturday, Arkansas takes on Michigan State, 6 o'clock start. And we're going to go to Swing Social. It's a new place out in West Little Rock. I think they've been open for about 6 weeks now. They're right next to Homer's in that same shopping center, the Marketplace Shopping Center, down there from Sauced and Zen Wine Bar. But Swing Social, neat little place. They got the golf simulators, a lounge, a nice bar. We're going to do the show live there Saturday night. Bill Ingram's going to join me. We're going to talk a little Razorback basketball, do a post-game show Saturday night. So invite you out to Swing Social. Come by, check out the place, and watch the post-game show when we talk about Arkansas and Michigan. Coming up tomorrow night, Braylon Mitchell, former Razorback backer, is going to join us. Also have Thomas Thrash from Hooten's Arkansas football. We'll talk a little bit about, because this week's a little bit different because you have games on Thursday night and Friday night this week. Week 10, final week of the high school football season. So we'll talk a little high school football tomorrow night and preview the games of the week. Thursday, Blake Kern, former Razorback tight end, is going to join us, and we'll talk about the program and kind of what he would like to see happen next for Arkansas football. And that's going to do it for tonight. I appreciate everybody for watching. It was a fun night. Big thanks to Hayden Henry for coming on board and talking a little football. We'll be back here tomorrow night with Braylon Mitchell and Thomas Thrash. Hope you can join us and stick around, because it's going to be a wild ride the next couple weeks. But hang in there. They'll get a new coach sometime in December. Join us tomorrow night for More Sports.
All Arkansas, all sports.